Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited just to be with my friends Bereket and Mesfin from Ethiopia. I just love it if Bereket, you could give us a little big picture story of what is Terepeza Development or TDA doing in Ethiopia. Give us a big picture.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Terepeza Development Association is a development wing of Untitled Church, catering about 1,400 local churches in southern Ethiopia. The major things that we are doing here is we are working in agriculture through our churches. We are working in self-help groups. We are also responding to emergencies such as the COVID-19 whenever it happens and whenever we have resources.
Great. And so, Mesfin, can you tell us a little bit about the people in your community? You've talked about poverty and people living in poverty. What does that mean in your region, Mesfin?
Yeah, thank you very much, Wayne, for inviting me to also here, and I'm happy to be here with you. Yes, poverty is deep-rooted in our area, mainly because we have been doing agriculture for thousands of years. We do have a culture that we inherit our land to our children. By doing so, nowadays the farmland holding size is very, very small, and it's very fragmented land size. It's less than a half a hectare, nearly, for most of the farmers who are we working with, is around a quarter of hectare. So on average, we have 6 people in one family, so they make their life based on that. Because our agricultural system is very traditional and we keep plowing, tilling land for years and the years, soil erosion is high and the topsoil is degraded very much, soil fertility becoming a problem. So farmers are not getting enough food to feed their family year round. So that's the main thing. Now, many people, especially youngsters, dropping out from school and they migrate for casual work, for cities. That's also another, it has also another problem, social problem. So the poverty in our area is very deep-rooted and it is a vicious circle. So we are dealing and we are working with farmers to help them to come out of that. As I said, our agriculture is entirely rain-fed, and because of climate variability, we don't get rain on time. Sometimes it delays, sometimes we get too much rain. So this is also really it's a big challenge on farming community for smallholder farmers.
So Mesfin and Bereket, let me summarize what I hear is you're very the poverty is widespread. The population completely depends on agriculture, but the farms are very small, 1 acre of size, which is just 200 feet by 200 feet. And what you grow on that land completely supports a family of 6 people for a whole year. So you're starting to do something called conservation agriculture. What is the basic principles of conservation agriculture?
Yeah, the basic principle of conservation agriculture is it focuses on keep your soil healthy. So we do have 3 principles, 3 pillars. The first thing, you don't till soil, minimum soil disturbance, in our case we call it. And the second thing is covering your soil with decomposable materials so that the moisture is reserved. So the mulch material, it has organic material, microorganisms, then they decompose and they improve soil health. The third principle is keep doing crop rotation so that we rotate crop to keep soil healthy and to break disease cycle if it happens. So these are the basic 3 principles we teach our farmers to practice.
Now, Bereket, when Mesfin, I understand, has now trained over 11,000 farmers with his team through local churches in the community. What happens to an individual farmer when they implement the CA program? What's the typical change that they are experiencing?
Yeah, so what happens is, as mentioned, already mentioned, these farmers are typically very, very poor farmers, lack resources, but also lack knowledge and understanding because the level of illiteracy is so high. So what we do is we provide training as a church through our church networks. So after the training, the farmers start to implement the conservation agriculture principles, and the quality of the soil, the fertility dramatically changes, improves, production dramatically increases, not only increase in production, but also livestock feeds and all other things that they benefit from their land increase dramatically. It's a transformative activity as we can observe. So their food security totally improves. They are able to eat food throughout the year like they have never done before. For example, if you take this month of the year, this is called a hunger season. But if you go to the CA farmers, you'll find food. So this is something very, very dramatic in our situation. They are sending their children to school. They don't worry about the medical issues. They don't worry about clothing. They don't worry to pay for their obligations. But these are the CA farmers whom we have trained, and we are being able to reach with your support. There are many, many out there, as you can really understand.
I heard the number, of 75% to 300% in the first year and up to 700% in the third year on property. But now they're growing so much grain, they're able to sell it. And now they have more cash. They can go in education, health, housing. That's wonderful. Let's just change the subject a little bit. You've got the women in the savings group, because now all of a sudden the farm is generating more income. So now they've got savings groups because there's no electricity, no banks, and you've got these women working together in the savings groups. I bet they're excited about this too.
Yes, definitely. The saving groups, as you know, in our case, we call them self-help groups. They save from their own pockets, and women are empowered here economically, socially, participation, decision-making. So many things are happening because of these saving groups. Women, their empowerment, to go to discuss, to deal with their husbands, to rebuild themselves in the village, that's growing. Now, the women groups, they are also using this saving bag as a means to buy grain. They buy a pig's bag. They buy again grain from local village during harvest time. They keep that grain for some time. Most of the groups are now doing that, knowing that the price will go high starting from May, June, July. So they are making additional income, growing their capital. So it again connects with agriculture. The saving groups, they can easily buy farm inputs like fertilizer and seeds without worrying. So it is really giving them big relief in their family and giving then creates recognition from their family up to the village.
Wonderful.
Let me talk a little bit about the self-help groups. The self-help groups that we are organizing are mainly they are women, poor women groups, number one. Number two, we are not giving them handouts. We are not giving them a seed money like many other international organizations are doing. We train them to save from nothing. This is a unique. We influence their behavior. We influence their way of doing things, their thinking. So they start small amount of money, saving small amount. That small amount of saving grows from time to time. Number one, they can use that money for creating income. They can engage in income generating activities, number one. Number two, they can use that money for agriculture. They need, improved seed. They need fertilizer. So they don't go to anywhere. They have the capacity to purchase the necessary seed, fertilizer, and any other inputs from their saving. So this is also another way of empowering the poor women. So savings supports agriculture. It supports them to reinvest in assets and income generating activities. But also it's an insurance in the rural area for them during the time of food shortage and adversity. So it's huge, it's a big thing.
That's just wonderful, wonderful good news. Now, Terepeza Development Organization, or TDA, you folks in the last 5 years have, my understanding, trained almost 11,000 farmers in over 600 or 700 groups or training groups of farmers. You've done all the training. Tier Fund Canada has helped train you, but you've trained all your own people. So this is Africans leading to Africans. And you've started all of those through the local villages, through the churches, and you've set up model farms on church property where we would call it a parking lot. And then you've got these thousands and thousands of women who are part of self-help groups for saving. But now you've got a gigantic problem, COVID, coronavirus. And so I'd like you to help us to understand, what is the impact of coronavirus on Ethiopia first, and the level of understanding by the farmers? Let's talk about that one first. What's happened there?
Yeah, Ethiopia, like many sub-Saharan African countries, have very poor and very broken system, a health system. It's very difficult even to imagine. We have literally no resources, no system to really tackle this problem, mainly because of the resource issue, but because of the systems and the culture that we have. So what happened was, now the government is ordered all public and private workers to stay at home and stop the public transportation. And most of the people, majority of the population, is living on daily basis. Very, very poor people. Number one, we have no infrastructure in the system that can handle this problem. Number two, there's a lot lack of awareness how the disease transmits and how it impacts each other. The understanding is very limited. People are living in very, very congested situation. You have churches with 4,000 people. You have a funeral ceremony all over the villages. You have a lot of social activities going. You have over 100 million people now in Ethiopia. And in the rural area, on top of that, you have a lot of illiteracy and lack of awareness. So now people are sitting at home, and we are dealing with just daily income, and you are saying literally stay at home. So what you can imagine what's happening. As organization, we cannot move, we cannot train farmers, we cannot do our work properly. So it's very horrendous and very complicated in our situation.
So Bereket and Mesfin, you've got this wonderful network of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of churches, women's groups, of the savings groups, and the farmer groups, and they know you, they trust you. What kind of education are you doing in those communities, in the small groups?
So what we are trying to do is using our networks, we want to pass messages that create awareness about the disease itself, how it transmits from one to the other, and how it affects symptoms and everything to the community, like social distancing, like hand washing, and avoiding big gatherings like churches and village meetings and big funeral meetings. So, but we really need the resource to do those things. We have no resource. This is an emergency. These all things like printing posters, distributing like soaps for demonstration, and washing materials for demonstration in village centers and in self-help groups and those kind of activities. These all need resources, and this is huge emergency in our case. Remember, we don't have health system and infrastructure to handle this big serious pandemic.
I hear you're making moves forward, you're doing the printing, you're starting the educational program, you're in interaction with the government because you're the trusted voice. How can we pray for you?
Yeah, number one, in all the measures, you can see what's happening in developed countries like United States and even your country and other European countries like Italy, where you have sophisticated system, health system, and everything. Compared to that, we are not able to really stand up to this. But I think God is above everything. He knows everything. Your prayers, the prayers of the church in Canada, that's very important than any other things in the first place. Number two, we have a lot of problems being created because of this coronavirus. People are, as I've mentioned already, they are ordered to stay at home, but they are people living on daily income, on daily basis, doing small things for their bread. Now, the youngsters in all over the country, the shoe shiners, the labor workers are coming and they are sitting and they have nothing to eat. So this is going to be a social crisis. We need to respond to those kind of emergency needs. We need to respond to supplies like soap, sanitizers, and all other things related to this emergency. We need to print the posters, as I have mentioned. We need to pass the message through different mechanisms that are safe. So that's the message that we have.
Wow, thank you so much, Bereket and Mesfin. I want to just tell you how much we appreciate you. We love the model by which you as nationals, leaders in your own community, are involved in empowering your own people to discover their potential, to solve their own problems. And the catalyst for change is the local church. The pastor is the hero in the community as he introduces this and encourages you to work with the church to fulfill the command of God not just to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, but also to love your neighbor and to demonstrate that in a practical manner.
Yeah, we are very, very thankful to you at the organization at Fund Canada. We are also very thankful for the Canadian churches who are supporting you and supporting us through you. It's because of their support that we are able to do this great work. So we are very, very much thankful, and we would like you to pass our thanks and our messages to Canadians and Canadian churches. That's my message.
Thank you so much. Mesfin, you want to say anything there?
Yes, thank you so much. And we also keep praying for you, God to keep you safe, all Northern American and all over the world. So you are always in our prayers. Thank you so much.
God bless you guys. And I just want to say thank you so much.